The firefighters are doing their very, very best. I promise you that. And also the air assets are a huge, huge thing that we're utilizing right now that'll help Palisades.
And among those critical air assets being used to battle the raging wildfires in Los Angeles is a pair of water bombing planes from Canada, specially equipped to scoop up water from the ocean. You can see it here, gathering water from the Pacific near Will Rogers State Beach, then eventually dumping that salt water onto the growing inferno. This proved an especially valuable firefighting tool, particularly with the water pressure issues in Pacific Palisades, with fire hydrants there tapped out.
In many brush fires, we run out of water, and we anticipate that because of the supply demand. There's so many firefighters tapping into a limited supply of water.
But the ocean could seemingly provide a nearly unlimited supply of water. So why do firefighters tend not to use ocean water in fighting wildfires? Experts say that fresh water is preferred over the ocean's salt water because, according to scientists, fresh water has a higher cooling capacity compared to salt water, meaning it's better at absorbing heat and putting out fires. Also, salt water corrodes firefighting aircraft and other equipment, including pumps and hoses, more quickly than fresh water, according to technology.org. Dumping massive amounts of salt water also has environmental consequences. Salt water remains in the soil after the water evaporates, potentially hurting plant life and altering the soil's chemistry. But in a dire situation where adequate supplies of fresh water aren't available, tough choices must be made.
This spot where they're at now is perfect for them because we're right next to the ocean. It's a little hard for them to pick up when the ocean's rough, but so far it's not too bad. You don't see any big white caps out there, so if they're able to go out and return quickly, where all those other VLATs and other ones dropping Phos-Chek, they have a long return time. They got to go all the way to an airport somewhere and be reloaded and then fly back out here, where these guys are making great work. They're just constantly, nonstop since I got here.
They've made, I don't know,
hundreds of drops already.
Yeah, wow.
And it's, you could probably see him here as he comes down, and he'll just drag on the ocean.
Yep,
and
picking up all that water.
I want to say they pick up over 3,000 gallons, I believe.
It's amazing what they're doing and the work that they're doing so quickly to battle this blaze. All right, Tony, thank you so much. Please stand by, because right now we are going
let's just watch this for a moment, though, because this is pretty incredible how quickly all that water was gathered, right? And they're going to just go right back up that hill.
Yeah, and the precision and the experience that these pilots, these firefighter pilots have, it's really incredible what conditions they're fighting against right now. They're able to fly despite the wind gusts up at that high elevation, nearing 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So this is really incredible work that they're doing. I'm so grateful for them to be here right now.
Let's watch this action. The logistics of the location, really ideal, if you could even say that.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened here? Over to the east as well, but whether they have already evacuated in the last couple of hours or whether they have whether they're just now getting the word, I can't tell you. But there does not seem to be a whole lot of car traffic. Protecting those structures should be a little bit easier because you're going to have the help of all of these helicopters dropping water and preventing that fire and any flare-ups that come ahead of it. For the last several days, people have been running for their lives for a fire where the wind is blowing in their direction. That's not happening right now. Now the fire is creeping in certain directions.
These are the airplanes picking up the water. I've never seen it in my life. Those are the planes picking up the water. That's amazing.
3 months in advance when you do
The FAA is investigating a mid-air collision that happened between an aircraft, a key aircraft obviously used in fighting the Palisades fire, and a drone that shouldn't have been where it was. It was flying in restricted airspace, and as a result, one of these, it's one of two so-called super scooper planes, has been taken out of commission for repairs. These are planes that are so essential in this fight. They can scoop up more than 1,500 gallons of ocean water and drop it on active fires.
And they work with almost surgical accuracy. CNN's Pete Mantine joins us now. Pete, what exactly happened here?
Well, to put it simply, this was pretty brazen and could have been a whole heck of a lot worse. The restricted airspace has been in place over the LA fire since Tuesday, a safe space for aerial firefighting by effectively creating a no-fly zone for other aircraft. And now the FAA wants to know how a drone ended up in there. It was hit by one of the air tankers helping out from Canada, a Canadair CL-415, better known as the Super Scooper, that has been vital to this air attack.
Flying a drone in the fire traffic area is not only dangerous, but it's illegal. We do have our federal partners behind the scenes are going to be implementing procedures to be able to follow drones in our two large fire areas, and they will be able to identify who the operator of that drone is. The most important thing to know is that if you fly a drone at one of these brush fires, all aerial operations will be shut down. And we certainly don't want to have that happen.
Here they fly out to the Pacific Ocean, load up on about 1,500 gallons of water, then swoop back in and drop that water on their target fire. This is the exact plane in question, known as Quebec 1. And these are the photos from the Los Angeles Fire Department. You can see the hole in the leading edge of the wing there. That is where the drone apparently impacted this plane. The latest update from the Los Angeles Fire Department says the plane remains out of service right now. And I want you to listen now to police who say the search is on to find out who was operating that drone in restricted airspace. The good news, the pilots did a good job of getting that plane back on the ground safely. Nobody was hurt. Federal Aviation Administration says this: the FAA treats these violations seriously and immediately considers swift enforcement action for these offenses. It is a federal crime to interfere with fighting of a wildfire. You can face up to 12 months in prison, and the FAA can also impose a civil fine of $75,000. The LAFD says for a time this caused the airspace over the fires to be cleared out of an abundance of caution, so all the aircraft on the wildfire had to be grounded, and the FAA says that slows the fire response and could cost lives. Drones are really this emerging hazard right now, and we have seen it interfere with commercial air travel. We've seen it interfere with NFL football games. Now we've seen it interfere with a wildfire, and the FAA really not joking around with its punishment here.
Yeah, this is so terrible to see this happen. When can that plane get back up in the air?
It seems like it should be a relatively easy fix. It looks mostly like just sheet metal, maybe superficial to me. So hopefully they'll be able to get it back up in the air soon. More and more help is arriving all the time. And the good news is California is pretty well equipped to do this. And the crews, these Canadian crews who often help out out with wildfires like this from British Columbia and Quebec. They're so experienced with the wildfires there. They really know what they're doing, and they can drop water right on the target. It's almost like watching a great sports game when they really nail it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is impressive work, and so silly for somebody to be up there in the air when they don't need to be when these delicate operations are taking place. Pete Mantine, thanks so much for the update. Let's bring in Kenichi Haskett, Section Chief with the LA County Fire Department assigned to the Palisades fire. Thank you so much for being with us, Chief. I do want to get an update from you about the Palisades fire. We know it's 8% contained. How much longer do you think before it can be fully contained?
We want to fully contain this as soon as possible, not only to firefighters and first responders to return normalcy, but we want to get people back home. So infrastructure is devastated. So the power, the water, the sewer, everything is, unfortunately almost looks like what a war zone might look like. We want to get people back as soon as possible, but it could be weeks, it could be months. I don't know. I can't forecast that future. You guys mentioned, I want to hit on it real quick. It's sunny, it's dry, but the weather, those are good recipes for continuing wildland fires. We don't have the winds that he mentioned, which is great, so we can get that aircraft in the air, but it's sunny. When it's sunny and there's open flame, it adds to the fire behavior in the sense that the fire will keep burning.
Yeah, and there's so much fuel out there is the other problem, right? So much dry brush because there hasn't been a whole lot of moisture in that area. How critical is it for your crews to right now capitalize on the winds being relatively subdued before we see that resurgence going into next week?
It allows for more precise water drops and retardant drops from our aircraft and our rotary wing helicopters. So they're able to get ahead of it and stop those large fire front walls of fire that you see that could be 20, 30 feet high. So we'll take advantage of that with our aircraft, and it helps eliminate those spot fires that we're seeing that were going literally multiple football fields up to miles away the other night.
Yeah, I do wonder if you have any update for us on injuries or the death toll. Obviously, it's a difficult process as firefighters comb through areas that were previously inaccessible, but we want to give viewers an update on where things stand on that end.
My condolences first and foremost to all the families that have had member family die. That's not something that we ever want to do as firefighters and law enforcement, is to start recovering bodies on the fire line. So I can't give you an accurate number. Unfortunately, that number might grow that we already have out. So there's been multiple fatalities just on several of our fires, the Eden fire, and unfortunately the fire that I'm on, the Palisades fire.
Yeah, it is one of the more tragic parts of all the awful scenes that we've been watching unfold. I do want to ask you about, and I just want to let our viewers know, these are actually live images of firefighters battling blazes right on the fire lines. And when we zoomed out earlier, you could see houses on the outskirts there. So these are literally the front lines where firefighters are right now. Chief, I'm curious about how you all are working to get a handle on an understanding of what might have sparked some of these fires. I know that someone was arrested for suspected arson near the Kenneth fire. Do you have any indication to this point on what may have started the Palisades fire or any of the others?
No, you spoke to the Kenneth, the person's suspect's under arrest for allegedly possibly starting that fire, but that's under investigation at this time. Ours will be under investigation for a length of time, so we need to let law enforcement continue that process. You mentioned the homes next to that open flames. I don't have visual, but I want people to know if they're in a warning area, they need to be ready to go if we have to issue an evacuation order. When tonight, we do not want to displace anyone from your homes. That's where your memories are made. That's where your family lives. But if you're in a warning area, please be ready to evacuate if an order is issued. That's how we save lives. That's how we can help keep you safe. That's our number one priority, is to get you out safely. So I urge your viewers and your listeners to please adhere to the warning and be ready to go if an order is issued. When an order is issued, you need to leave immediately, because it means imminent danger is coming. And we have law enforcement, the National Guard here,